morning, and knowing I have cousins back home who can't even go to school. So, you know.
I'm pretty sure your mom made you know about that.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So really, we're just here to connect technology solutions to people that need it most. To, you know, if there's a school in Cameroon that could use a library, they could use a media center, why not find a way to fund that project and to assist those kids in a way that they're able to use that resource. You see, when you invest in technology, the good thing is that it cycles back around, because, you know, the knowledge is in your head, so you're able to teach the next person, or you're able to use it to help the next person. So I think that's kind of what moves us, the fact that it's the gift that keeps giving, and together we really can make it. You know, we can make a change. We're just two young women, but, you know, with partnerships, with partnerships and talking to people, I think there's a lot could come out of this.
Yeah, the mentoring aspect of Infotech kind of merged from what I was talking about, where I know what's going on back home, but I have family members who are here and don't really know what's going on. So we wanted to be able to connect some of our young adult population with the youth here and there. So kind of give us something positive to be doing with ourselves every day, because we know what's going on, but we don't know how to help.
Right. In helping, right? What are the barriers you guys have faced so far?
That's a good question.
I think, first of all, being able to communicate what it is that Infotech is, right? And what it is that we're doing. I think one of the challenges was being able to kind of talk it out, you know, because people, when you go on the website and you see science, technology, engineering, arts, agriculture, math, music, and you know, they kind of get stuck on that. But what we're trying to say is, yes, we have the science, the technology, the normal STEM, but also the arts, music, agriculture. Those things can transform lives, and they all use technology, you know. So I think being able to communicate our mission initially was difficult, but I think now, if you all understand where we're going, then I think we're in a good path. And also being able to find partnerships, sponsors, funders. So
how hard is that to find?
Well,
it's difficult only because, well, it's actually starting to get a little bit easier because of the networking.
Yes.
And, you know, putting ourselves out there a little bit more. So we're actually having people coming to us as opposed to us going out to find people now.
So it's more like in the start it was a little bit draggy, but now
it's like starting to pick its legs up.
Right.
Okay.
So our informational was a big hit, and we're trying to actually do more of those, because awareness is a big part of just garnering people, you know, knowledge, those kind of things.
So how long has it been? Like, is this something that has recently?
We are a baby, so we are this is going to be our second year.
Oh, okay.
But we are a 501c. You know, we're a nonprofit. We have all the paperwork. So if you do make a donation, you can definitely write it off in your taxes, and you know, it's legitimate in that sense. And so bringing that, of course, that takes a while to get started. But we had our first event last summer, our STEAM fair for kids. So we had a STEAM fair, which was like a science fair. When kids brought in their projects that they worked on, and on topics that they were interested in, from science all the way to music, right? And they were able to present.
Tied into technology.
Right. So that was our first event last year. So now in the future, where I see that event, and I know I've talked to Yaya and I talk about this. You know, we want that. And a few years from now, in our STEAM fair, a kid comes up. You know, they present something maybe about stem cell research, and there's, you know, NIH right there ready to give them an internship. They come and bring an app. There's Apple right there ready to, you know, give them a few millions. So that's where we see it going.
Definitely getting used. Like you guys are probably gonna use the University of Maryland auditorium in
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're trying to get towards university partnerships. So.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really
And
good.
in talking about like our path, it's just trying to help a lot of our kids gain a better academic path. Because my academic path, it wasn't hard, but it could have been a lot easier if I had a couple more resources along the way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And also, I'm also looking back from our own parents, right? Like
Mhm.
some of us, our parents didn't go to school.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
it's kind of hard for them to steer us in a certain direction.
Exactly.
You know, it's like they just threw us in the trenches and say, "Yo, go fight."
Mhm.
You know, so
Mhm.
we ended up just shooting at anything,
Yeah.
hoping that we
Yeah.
catch. I don't know what, but yeah, that was really dope that you guys are trying to make the kids look at a better future. And speaking of babies, right? I was watching a video and you guys mentioned something about your big baby, and it's more of a collaboration with women in science to support ongoing work and overcoming gender experience access, and about influencing women's science, technology, and math. What is that about?
The STEAM Fair pageant.
Yes. So in the STEAM Fair we have a Miss Information Technology pageant, and that's really because we want young women to get into these STEM and STEAM fields. First of all, women are still the minority in these fields, but even when they get in there, they don't get paid, as much as their male counterparts. So. But the STEAM Fair last year, we had a Miss Information Technology pageant. So these young women who were interested in the sciences, technology, they had their platforms, they looked beautiful, so they were able to really connect, I can be beautiful and intelligent and be in the sciences and be a minority somewhere and still slay. So we are, from that end, we're working with the kids to, young women to empower them. And, for me, something I left out from my difficulties with biochemistry and orgo too was that I went to a predominantly white university, number one. So I was dealing with some racial obstacles. But being in most of those science classes and being like the only girl and being like the only black girl, and then the whole gender issue, it's so relevant. It's so relevant.
Right.
But we really want to collaborate with other organizations that do want to include women and push women in these STEM fields.
Okay. But seeing that you guys are on the ground working already on this side, what are the plans, like long-term plans? And I don't know if you guys want to start in Cameroon or wherever in Africa.
Yeah. I guess our short-term goal is to start here. We have our Bigs and Littles event coming up where we're just trying to get our big mentors, get them a foundation with their littles and get them an introductory place with them so they can communicate throughout the year. Second goal is our STEAM Fair 2017. It's going to be big. You guys should come out and have a podcast table. That'd be great, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then long term, we're trying to venture out into Cameroon and Mali, open a center, hopefully. That's like our long-term goals.
Yeah. And we also have our ongoing tech tools for schools. So we are starting the tech tools for schools in Cameroon, but we hope to also spread out to other African nations and Latin America too.
Why Mali though? Just out of curiosity.
Mali, because we have connections.
Yeah.
We got friends, we got sisters in Mali.
Yeah.
Our sisters in Mali need us.
Yeah.
And actually one of my friends told me a statistic that nearly had me have a heart attack, because she told me so many women, so many wives have been killed this past year in Mali by their husbands. And so it got me thinking, I'm like, okay, what could have caused that? What could cause abuse to the point that it even, goes into death? And you start to think, maybe even if these ladies even had maybe a
pamphlet,
some
that they could have
access,
read.
or a phone, or who knows, maybe someone just needed a phone to call a friend to get picked up and they didn't have it. Like, you start to think of scenarios where technology can literally save lives. And I'm like, you know what, we'll get to Mali, as soon as we get the ground rolling in Cameroon, for sure.
The gap. Remember something about that earlier. You said you use other organizations to help close the gap. What do you mean by that? What gap?
So the gap. So, on one level, we have the education gap. We have the gap in education where we see that whites and
Have the more resources.
Yep, people in higher socioeconomic statuses are able to, perform better. They read at higher levels.
Yeah.
They're completing college, going to and completing college, blah, 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 blah. So there's also actually a technology readiness gap that's also happening. And it's happening locally and it's happening internationally. And this gap is where folks that have resources, the gap really is between people that have resources, the haves and the have-nots. So we want to close that technology readiness gap so that folks can have access to resources, great hospitals, great schools, and also they're literate, helping children to read. Some of our kids, and I'm just going to talk about, in Cameroon sometimes you might have undiagnosed dyslexia and you're sitting in class and the teacher is like, read this thing and maybe you're messing up and they're like, no, what's wrong with you? Are you stupid? Try it again. What's wrong with you? Why is this child writing the B backwards? Why is this child not able to write S? And there's all these issues where, that child could just have dyslexia. And if that child just heard the story, they would comprehend it, or if someone was reading it to them, or if they were listening to it on tape, they will comprehend the story a lot better.
And when the teachers do that, that kind of discourages the students from
Oh,
learning.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
They could get sidetracked and say, you know what, I don't want to do this.
To take that even further, so then let's say those same kids, their parents bring them here and their parents bring those same teaching methods here with them. So when they bring their homework home and they need help, mom is like, come on, what's going on? You're not getting this. So it's just trying to close that gap up so that we can educate our kids. To take that a little even further, something that Maikah mentioned, maybe in the what you watched, Uncle, is that she had mentioned that a lot of our kids are going to school and they're using laptops, technology now, and they're bringing those things home, and their parents aren't able to help them as much as they can help them.
Right.
So that frustration is not just happening back home; it's also happening here with some of our kids in elementary and middle school because their parents can't really help them as much as they would like to at home.
Now I see where that mentoring thing plays a big role.
Yeah, exactly.
And also listening to you guys break down the whole gap issue, it makes me think about the reason why we started this podcast.
Right.
As we say, we're tired of stuff in the middle. We're just trying to let people know that they cannot sit on their thoughts. You're thinking something, just go ahead and do it. What's the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen?
You learn from your mistake, and in order for you to learn, you have to learn on your way to trying to do what you want to do.
If you fail, you won't fall, but you gotta pick yourself up and try again. Jesus failed 3 times before he made it to Calvary.
I know I'm listening, like, oh, this guy's always preaching about
Okay. Go ahead, Uncle, on the Sunday.
So, I want to get into trying to, like you say, you guys are having difficulties conveying your mission on what you're trying to accomplish, and I want you guys to look at it in the simplest form, because some people might listen and say, oh, are they trying to buy computers to ship to Cameroon or Africa or something for these kids to learn about this technology or something like that? So just try to break it down for them.
All right. So the easiest way I can put this would probably to say we are here to just provide, let's put on 2 tiers. So on one tier, we're here to provide technology and technology solutions to the neediest, right, populations around the world. That need can be in Montgomery County, Maryland, or that need can be in Bamenda, Cameroon. But we want to target those audiences and get them where they can be able to also participate in our global economy. Because at the end of the day, every parent, every school, every nation, what do they want? They just want productive citizens in the society.
Right.
And so how do we get our children to that place where they are able to participate and be productive citizens in their communities? They have to be able to connect. They have to be able to have that access, and good hospitals. there's so much that we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much that we can do,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that there's so much that we will do, but I think we can't do it alone.
Right.
And that's the important part about partnerships. That's the important part about being here with stuck in the middle.
And there's nothing wrong with us trying to ship computers home. So if
Oh,
you have
yeah.
those old
Tech tools
laptops,
for schools.
old cell phones that you're trying to send back to Verizon, bring them this way.
Right, yep.
You know, let's make good use out of that.
Well, since you guys are talking about sending things back, right? One of our cousins is doing this. I don't know if you've heard of it. Jump Africa.
Yes,
Yeah.
I need to connect with
Right.
him.
You know, that's definitely somebody you need to connect with.
I stalked that cousin.
Yeah, shout out to Fatima. We have this beautiful ladies right here.
Can you give me a brief what's that about? 'Cause I don't know.
Yeah.
Jump Africa.
Yeah.
Jump Africa pretty much is the shipping books
Books.
back home.
Hmm.
Yeah, to help.
And they're doing a phenomenal
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
I follow him. You know, shout out to him. And I love when people are doing things like that because I follow him and I'm seeing what he's doing
Yeah.
and I'm also learning from it,
Yeah.
right?
It's
There's
inspiring.
something in our community that we're gonna talk about. Some people get a little bit gossipy when people are doing things similar to others.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what I'm saying. So someone negatively might say, hey, Maikah, I want to do, does anyone want to Cameroon when this guy is already
Right.
Jump is already
Yeah.
sending books. What? How much hurt can that? And you want? So now you want to be a police officer. Now you want to be a DBA because you're seeing DBAs. Like, how does that hurt? The more of us doing great things for everyone, the better the world becomes, right?
That's like saying, I just opened my hospital, and then you try to open a hospital. Like, why you open a hospital? She already opened a
Yes,
hospital.
and you hear that
in there.
you hear that rhetoric amongst our people sometimes, and in the hood they say you biting off me or whatever, but no, you're not biting off me.
Yeah, it's great that you said, you follow him and you kind of learn
Yeah.
some things from him. Some people, they're scared to say they follow somebody, or they
Oh, I
watch
stalk
and they
him
learn.
kind of. I'm like, okay, more books. Oh, Akon. Oh, okay, all right. So he, it's from him that I saw about partnerships too.
Yeah.
I see that he's not doing it alone.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
see, so
Yeah.
He just recently partnered with Ato's Foundation
you
to
see.
do stuff in Cameroon. So, shout out to T.
We're just trying to get like him.
Hey,
Hey, I know y'all gonna get there.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna get there. No doubts about that. Special education teacher. So when I hear special education, right,
Yes.
I don't know. I think of many different things, but
Mhm.
instead of me sitting here killing my brain, could you please help us, narrow this thing down?
Okay.
I love
So, I love my babies. Shout out to all my babies. In fact, shout out to all babies that learn differently, that look different than other babies. Those are my babies. So I'm a special education teacher. I pretty much work with kids with disabilities. So, and it ranges. I've worked with kids with, as something as mild, I would say like ADHD or ADD. Learning disabilities like dyslexia, dyscalculia, some words that people might not know, but I work with kids with disabilities, but also now my passion and who I've been working with are kids with who are emotionally disturbed, as well as on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
So if you know anything about autism, it's
Just
it's a
define
tough-
autism. Just define autism.
So it's really hard to, I can't really define autism, but there is an autism spectrum. And so these are children that are wired differently.
Okay.
And that's kind of it's a beautiful world of autism spectrum. So these are kids that have either some developmental issues, and it causes them to act differently. They might struggle with organization, or they might be particularly obsessed with one thing. You heard of Asperger's? I don't know if you guys have heard of Asperger's, but like people that are highly, highly intelligent to the point where they might know. Yeah, they're socially disconnected from us. So
That's
a lot of the
beautiful
killings.
mind.
Yeah, Sandy Hook. Some of those killings that we've heard about in America. Those usually, not usually, but I believe the Sandy Hook incident was by a kid that was on the spectrum, had Asperger's. And so what happens is that you're different, and sometimes you might get made fun of, and sometimes you don't know how to, you know, channel those emotions, and it might lead to somewhere negative. But I work with those kids, and I teach them everyday life skills as well as English, math, history. And they learn, yes, for the most part.
And you did go to school for this, right?
So yeah, I did my bachelor's in international relations and economics, but I got my master's in special education with a focus on curriculum and instruction, because I think that, you know, if all kids get a great education, I mean, the world would be such an awesome place. With love, of course, I teach with love.
Could you please help me? Could you please help me, right? Tell people the importance.
Where we were, I mean, I was, like I said, last born, I was supposed to be that doctor, you know, and there's this idea of, oh, go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, and sometimes go be an engineer, but there's so much so much more out there, and if there isn't, you can create it, and that's the world we're living in. So there's so many career options out there. You can do so many different things, even within. Okay, sure, you want to be a doctor, that's fine, but what about being a doctor with the girl we met the other day, a doctor who is also into public health, right? So she treats people, but her passion really is to get that knowledge about public, you know. So even if people want to choose the
stable path,
the stable or the most common career choices, even within those career choices, there's still things that you can do that are so different. You know, and it just goes with walking in your purpose as well.
And it individualizes each person, I guess. But it's hard to find when you're stuck in this world where you think you're just supposed to be in this one path. So for us, you know, we were lucky enough to have found somewhere different to go. For me, I was lucky enough to have found, to still stick with biology and find somewhere else that I could use it. So that was a really hard part, was, you know, even though I still wanted to be a biology major, I was like, if I'm not going to be a doctor, what the heck am I going to do? So that was really hard to figure out, and that's where a lot of this is stemming from. It's trying to make that path a little easier for the next person.
And once you figure it out, life becomes very easy.
Exactly. Even breaking into college, I just wish I had known a little bit more coming in. I'm like, dang, I could have had so many scholarships. You know, so.
Knowledge.
Knowledge is key. Do everything you can to get more knowledge.
Amen.
A free tech fair for grades 8 to 12.
K through 12.
K to 12.
We love our babies. Kindergarten, come out.
Can you tell the people where that will be, what to expect, when it will be?
So our when has not yet been.
Yes, we are
established.
We are, fingers crossed, in the process of partnering with Capital Technology University. We're literally waiting for them to confirm the weekend in June, but it's either going to be the first or second weekend in June is our free STEAM fair, and we will make sure to get the word out there.
Send them this podcast, then they're going to know you guys are a big deal.
How about that?
And if you guys are connected with anybody who has their kids who are interested in being in the STEAM fair, do let us know, because it's very interesting to see stuff like the STEAM fair last year. We had 8-year-old at the time who was doing DNA extraction, all the way to our senior who was doing, was it whale frequencies?
That's dope.
Right? I was in there like, I don't know nothing about any of this stuff.
We had the first grader who brought different sizes of cylinders and made music.
Was doing music.
And, you know, it was like a music and math kind of thing, and also thinking of artists.
This is elementary school.
This is a little kid. This is a kid in our community, you know. And he actually won an award because he managed to connect with a lady who lost her dad, and the dad was an architect, and he builds houses in Cameroon, and one of his passions was being able to build a house that is the soundproof, you know, like the walls. So when that lady saw that little child like demonstrate, and she was really touched. and she actually gave an award to that child in honor of her father. So we also do that at the STEAM fair. So
Speaking of being in the right place at the right time, that's really dope. I always say, children in the future. You have to expose them to things, for them to be able to realize their dreams and stuff. Put them ahead. Give them the tools, because you don't know what this child could become in the future.
Absolutely.
So if you start training them at that age, they're really going to turn out to be the next Steve Jobs.
Train them to think different.
To think different, definitely, not only in like a narrow path. Just get them involved.
Hashtag think different.
Okay.
I like that. I like that.
And if I can add a little bit more too, so for our STEAM fair highlighted our kids, but we also had the vendors. I'd like to point that part out because we have a lot of people in our community who are doing outstanding things, and they also need to be highlighted. So we have one young lady who has a hair company, and we had her bring her hair out there, to show people because we have families, moms of those kids also there too, who would be interested in that kind of thing. So we need, actually this year, I would like to get more vendors bordering the science fair so we can get more of them exposed. I know a young lady who's doing, who's writing a book. It's like an African book. She's from Cameroon as well, and she's starting to write a book, just a kid's illustration book.
Okay.
Yeah, which also is very interesting. So if you guys come out, you can at least get to see that as well as be outstanded by these brainiacs.
And have your own table.
Okay.
We're going to be there. Just let us know.
Absolutely.
It will be a great chance to network with all these people. Possibly get them on the podcast. At least just fill up our calendars and stuff.
Exactly. Network, baby.
It's all about networking.
All about the networking.
So, Maikah, tomorrow is your birthday.
Oh yeah.
So it's been your birthday week. It's gonna be Liddy all week.
Look,
That's
all
great.
weekend long, just one surprise after the other.
We work right next to each other, so that'll be more. I literally be like walk across the street.
So from stuck in the middle to you, we want to say happy birthday, and I think us having you here is just like the right time.
Aw.
Like we didn't plan for this, but it just so happened.
I was singing a happy birthday song, but my voice is not,
Oh, because I was ready to hear it.
I got a shaky voice when I start singing.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
You work with Miss Cameroon, right?
Yes. Okay. Talking about partnerships.
Yeah, partnership. You work with Miss Cameroon to provide electronic medical records for record keeping for hospitals in Cameroon.
Yes.
How would that work?
Oh yeah. So Miss Cameroon, that's Miss Cameroon's platform actually. So if you know anything, shout out to Janik, my sis. That was her platform, and she's already into IT tech world. That's what she studies. So she had this drive. Like there's so much in Cameroon, especially. We have situations where people go to the hospital. They have certain conditions like diabetes, right? And they go in there and they're given the wrong thing, and they die.
Yeah.
That's just a medical mistake. But why? Do you know that a lot of our mammies, especially like mamena, they have a book with, some of their health.
Medical
Long
history.
ledger.
Yes, that ledger. You got it. And so when that mommy doesn't have that book, right? And you don't know that mommy's blood type or whatever it is, some of the mistakes that happen because there's not one uniformed area, database to store information. We know that things like cancer are what? Generational, Cancer also has a generational factor to it, but it's or hereditary factor to it. But if you don't know that your mom actually died of cancer, you won't even bother trying to check.
History, no record.
If you have no history, no record. So, yes, exactly. So I think it's very important. I think Janique's platform is very important, and we're really excited to work with her, to partner with her, so that we can find those resources. We can find the people that, because it's not enough to say, oh, we want to introduce electronic medical record keeping in Cameroon. It's not enough to just say that. And it's not enough to bring computers in the hospital and put the database and say use it. That's not enough either. You need to train these people. You need to train the people that will train the next people. You need to have the database. You want to have somebody that understands the glitches. So that's her platform, and hopefully, we'll be tackling that with time.
I like to ask the guests this question. I mean, because I'm proud of what our young folks are doing back home right now, and that's the Silicon Valley. I don't know what it's called right now, but in Boya they have the Silicon Valley in Boya. I'll just
Silicon Mountain.
Silicon Mountain. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you guys know about that?
No, tell me more. Did you know there was a Catholic university in Boya too? Anyways, tell me more, because I didn't know that either. I just found out last year.
These kids, I mean, they literally, some of them started programming, themselves started programming, and the Google kid, and they're really doing big things. I know. One of them created an app where pregnant women could stay at home and ask doctors questions, and the doctors reply to them in less than 5-10 minutes, which is really dope, because imagine the lines, to actually see a doctor back home. So if there's that app, that doctors could actually reach. I mean, pregnant ladies could reach out to the doctor, and the doctor, text back or reply back. It makes life easier for them. Secondly, you also have people who, there's this guy who created an app that compresses pictures. Because imagine, the bandwidth back home is very, very low. So you can't really send a full picture in a fraction of a second like we do here. So he created an app that will compress that picture. It compresses multiple pictures, and you can send it in that low bandwidth. I mean, it's incredible. You should check it out.
Oh yeah. You said Silicon Mountain in Boya. We're coming for y'all. We're looking for y'all partnerships.
So they're housing these students who are capable of doing all these things.
It's like an incubator.
Nice.
Awesome, right? Because that's the direction that electronic healthcare is trying to go. Is where people can be at home and have your doctor see you.
Exactly.
So imagine that at home first.
I like that.
So now that there's no internet in some regions of Canada, how do you guys feel about that?
Bring back our internet.
Bring it back.
Actually, it's infotech. So a lot of people don't know this, right? But let me just say we are, and I'll also share it on Facebook. But there are people we're working on finding ways to help that issue, if I can say that. So we
can't really go deeper right now. Just to say
yes, but I will forward something on Facebook. But just know that there is a team of very brilliant people. Our chief technology officer is part of that group. Who we're working to figure out a way for that area.
We're really trying to utilize our networking. So when people come to us and they are juicy, we're trying to use that. So that's all. And when you ask how does that make us feel, knowing that there's no internet, I get pissed off sitting in my house and I can't get Wi-Fi.
I know.
Yeah, I just feel really bad. Yeah. I feel really bad.
Because the internet now is like our world.
Yeah. I mean, think of all the entrepreneurs. Think of money. I mean, people losing money. A lot of people back home that market online to us.
Here
stuck in the middle. See, we're talking about that.
Definitely.
We have people.
Concept.
We have people that you try to support your folks back home, but the way they reach you is 9 times out of 10 using the internet. So it honestly makes me feel really sad.
And when it's born from, it's even more depressing for me too, because it's the idea that it's something that honestly we could fix. It's I think it's about the francophone and anglophone. Not that this is the place to go into it.
We hope that they resolve that issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
ASAP.
It's becoming a basic right. I mean,
that's what I think.
It's what it is. It's becoming a basic right at this point.
So at this point, what advice do you guys have for youth out there? We're gonna start with you.
Okay. My advice would be if you are dreaming about something or if you're thinking about something, you have an idea about something, don't give up on it. Continue to grow it. Find ways to feed it. Because honestly, the world is unlimited, it's uninhibited, especially if you are not afraid to put yourself out there just a little bit at a time. You know, so that's what I have to give to them. For me, if I would have started off a little bit sooner, being braver about what my ideas and my dreams and my thoughts, I think I could be a little bit further than where I am now. So don't be afraid. Do.
I think my advice, one of my favorite quotes that I use is, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, you can finish that, right? Then it will live its whole life believing it is stupid. So let me say that again.
Yeah, please.
If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, he will live his whole life believing he is stupid. Because you want to take him to church, girl?
I mean, because it's like saying the fishes can't climb trees, right? So if you continue to put that in the fish's mind, it's going to continue to think it cannot climb a tree.
Right. So,
right.
Yeah.
My advice to our youth is, number one, take the time off to know who you are. Take the time off to know your passions, and let those passions drive you. Do not be deterred, and do not listen to people who are judging the fish by its ability to climb the tree.
Especially, this podcast greatly catered to Africans. Africans, we have this mindset of not being always scared of people judging us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we put ourselves in a box, you know what I mean, and say, oh, that's not for me. Instead of exploring it to find out if it's for you or not.
So take a risk.
Yeah, and to add more to that, what we need to do as Africans too is stop trying to hinder people. You know, if you see your brother doing something, push him. You know, like encourage him to keep moving forward. Yeah, you know, don't bash him or anything like that. Support him.
As long as it's positive.
Yeah, if you find something that he's not doing right, try to say, I see where you're going, but give him constructive criticism. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
She's gonna smash your brother's dreams.
Exactly. If you're gonna bring him down, have something to lift him back up again.
Oh yeah, I like that.
So, where can people find you?
Yeah.
Where can people find us?
Yeah.
Like physically?
No. Social media.
Like physically? Okay, so we are Infotech.
I mean, there's so many social media sites.
So on Instagram, you can follow us on Infotech SF. It's just Infotech SF. Do you your personal page?
You guys got Twitter?
No.
Snapchat?
But we should.
Yeah, right?
Email, of course. And our website, infotechsansfrontier.com. You can also go on our website, check out what we're doing. Donate. The GoFundMe page.
If everybody give $1, we would have $1 million.
Is the GoFundMe link on the website?
The GoFundMe link is not updated on the website, but it is on our Facebook page, and our Instagram page as well.
Oh, by the way, you guys have a lot of people watching live right on Facebook, shooting all them loves. I see all them hearts just flying all over the place. And thank you to those listeners, to those watchers. Yeah. Tune in next week.
Please do.
Wait a minute. Thank you. I forgot we were live. All right.
Ladies, it was a pleasure having you guys on.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate for you guys honoring this invitation.
We appreciate
you all.
Hope you guys come back again.
And let us know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, every time something big is about to happen,
let us know.
We'll come back. We're welcome. Stuck in the middle. We're stuck in the middle, girl.
We are stuck in the middle, been in the middle.
Okay, you want to tell the people how to follow us?
Oh, most definitely. Oh, shout out to 237 Exclusive, man.
Yeah.
Thank you again for always, showing us.
Yeah,
love.
and big up to him. He's on iTunes now.
Yeah.
He's getting those big numbers on iTunes and 1,000, and hopefully we're gonna go into the hundreds and millions.
Amen.
Do you guys have that app? The 237 Exclusive.
I am
I'm
currently
downloading
downloading it.
Right now.
He was playing some dope gospel songs, praise and
Mm.
worship on Sundays, and then for the week, you can have your.
And so
Monday
y'all
morning
should be
is-
doing what we're doing
Monday
too, right?
morning is.
Yes, take out your phones, download the 237 exclusive.
iTunes, Google Play,
Yeah.
Online. it's everywhere. Stay connected with Stuck in the Middle podcast. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Stuck NT Middle. That's Stuck NT Middle. We also have a YouTube channel. That's STIM Podcast. STIM Podcast. And don't forget to email us at stuckinthemiddle237@gmail.com for questions, comments, concerns, all that stuff. We're stuck in the middle.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys so much. That was awesome.
So, good evening.
Good evening, Uncle.
There was one thing that struck me. There's a question of medical history in Cameroon.